Can you hear me? I think yes. So a few things about me. So I try to use online username called it's RGAIA. Yes. So if you look for that online, you probably could find me. I have those profiles. I'm Brazilian, and there's people that came here far away than me, because now I'm based in Manchester, so it's quite close. And that's why I'm giving this talk. I started using Python on 2010 when I was doing my undergrad as a applied mathematician. On that time, I really struggled to use Python. I tried to use for one of the disciplines. And I installed Python on my machine and say, yes, I have Python. I'm going to use for some numerical analysis. And I look online and say, oh, there's this library called NumPy that you can use to do like some matrix manipulations. And I say, okay, let's see what the documentation says. And I look online and they say, you can use this np.matrix to create a matrix, and I type that, and there is an error. And I say, why is this error? And then I read a lot of the documentation and say, oh, I forgot to write import NumPy as np. And they type again, it's common. And there's another error and say, you don't have NumPy. And I say, why I don't have NumPy? Because I had forgot to type sudo apt-get install and python-numpy. And I say, that's so difficult. Why people are using Python for that? It's so much easier to use MATLAB. And that's how I started using Python. And I know that can be difficult, so I try to make it easy for a lot of people to start with Python. So a few years later, I started contributing to two projects, software and data carpentry. They are both non-profit organizations in the US, and they offer lots of workshops where people can start using Python or R and Shell for doing their research. I get engaged on these projects. This year I am on the steering committee, so feel free to ask me any questions during PyCon. And now as I told you, I'm working on the Software Systems Institute here in Manchester. That's a group between the University of Manchester, Edinburgh, Southampton, and Oxford, and we try to help researchers doing their research better and using better software. So that's all for me. I talk too much about me. So what's the SciPy Latin America? If you go online and try to look for SciPy, you're probably going to discover that SciPy is a library that's wrapped a lot of C and Fortran 7.7 code for matrix manipulation and some optimization, numerical optimization. So there's some people that build that library, and then they started running some conference about all this environment for science. So after a few years in Argentina, they started running some conference. This was on 2012. They run the first time the SciPy Argentina, and on the next 3 years they run again the SciPy Argentina. On 2015, they decided to run a conference with a new brand that was the SciPy Latin America, covering not only Argentina but other countries like Brazil, Venezuela, Chile, Peru, Paraguay, and a few others. So this was in 2015. I discovered that online when I was looking to a conference like SciPy on the US. And they say, oh, this looks like a cool conference to go. I was planning to go to, was hoping to go to the SciPy on the US, but it was out of budget. The SciPy in Latin America was much affordable. So I said, okay, I can go to that one. It should be fun. So I went to the conference, and we was having dinner, and a friend of mine, Ivan, he was saying, oh, I go to apply to host a conference next year, on 2016, to be in Brazil, in Florianópolis. And I say, okay, I think that I can help you with things that you can do remotely, because I was not living in Florianópolis. And he said, okay, if the talk was accepted, the proposal was accepted, you can help me, and be nice. Ivan's proposal was the only one to go to the conference, so because it was the only one, they accepted the proposal to host the conference on 2016 in Florianópolis, and that's how I ended up organizing the SciPy Latin America. So, as organized perspective, what is organizing a conference, PyCon UK, PyCon Namibia, and a few others? I think the closest thing is like a wedding. You really want that people that attend the conference have a very memorable experience on the conference, and you only expect that people really have a nice time and have some fun together, met new people and so on. So that's the idea. But there's a small catch-up on that. If you're preparing a wedding, you can go to a bookshop and buy tons of magazines saying, how are you going to organize your wedding? Oh, you can use this type of cakes, you can use this type of invitations and do that and that. But to organize a conference, you can't find nice magazines about how to run a conference or close this bookshop. And that's why I decided to propose this talk to give a few tips for people that are planning to organize conference. Doesn't matter if it's a small one for like 20 or 50 people, or it's like 300. That's what I heard about the size of PyCon UK. So the first few lessons on that I need to tell you is that you should start preparing very early. As much early as you can, it's better, because the time goes really fast. When you doesn't expect that it's just 1 week before the conference and there's lots of few things that you still need to do. Another thing is that you need to find your venue as early as possible, because the venue is a very big bottleneck for any organization. You can go for take 1 day off and try to think about what to expect to have on your conference, like, oh, I went to 3 parallel tracks, or I went 8 parallel tracks, I went 2 days of tutorials, 2 days of sprint, and so on. But if the venue is not available for the amount of days or hours, or doesn't have the numbers of rooms, you're going to need to make changes on your conference. So finding a good venue is the first thing. The second thing is that you need to launch your website also as early as possible, because it's the only way that most of the people are going to discover your conference. So if you can launch your website like 6 months early, it's nice. People can start programming themselves, especially those that can need to travel a long distance to attend your conference. They need to prepare very early. So another thing is that you can seek for sponsorship for the conference. You actually need some money to run any event. And lots of organizations or companies, they are very happy to provide you some funding for the organization. But some companies, they have a very small window where you can ask for money. For example, some companies, they close their budget for the next year on October. So it doesn't matter if your conference is on September and you start asking money in April, they're going to say, oh, we're not going any money for you because you closed our budget. So asking money early is very nice, because you can actually prepare yourself. Something that was not expecting was like to have difficult to manage our finance. You say, oh, I got a sponsorship from the PSF, the Python Software Foundation. Yeah, I have some money. But sometimes transferring money between countries can be very challenging. And this can take a while just because of banks. But sometimes if you are using an umbrella organization, and if their finance is very bad, their accounting system is very bad, your money can be lost for a few months. We had this issue organized by SciPy Latin America. We say, okay, we have this company that's going to sponsor us. We send out the paperwork, they send the money, and we ask for our guy from the finance. So we have the money, and he say no, and I say, why? I don't know. And I talk, and he asked me, could you talk with the company and ask for some like number of transfer or whatever was the number that he was asking, and I say, can you give this number? And the guy sent us the number. I give the number for our finance, and the guy say, there's no this number on our finance. And I say, how? That's like 3 months, and that's a print copy of that transfer. How you can have on your system? And he say, I don't have. And he say, your job is to look on the finance. So that's something very wrong. I spent like hours trying to deal with that. It was a nightmare. At the end, we solved some of the issues, but it was after everyone was like unhappy and other things. Another thing is that sometimes if you have a very diverse team helping you organize the conference, time zone can be an issue. So because I moved to the UK on February and the conference was in May, I ended up having meetings with Ivan after midnight. And it was like, oh, I'm super tired. I can't think now. And there was, Ivan, you need to make all the bullet points that you need to do our issue and so on, because I'm not going to remember it tomorrow, so please do that. And yeah, it's a challenge, and some people need to make a lot of sacrifice. So if you're going to organize a conference, something that you really need is superheroes, because there's lots of tasks that need to be done. So if you're recording your conference, you need some people to put them online and make some video editing. You need people from the help desk to welcome all the conference. You need people to chair, and if you have different rooms, you need people to help the attendees to find the rooms. So those are the superheroes that need to assist you on the conference. So I want to ask you to thank all the helpers from the SciPy Latin America and also from the PyCon UK. So a sound of applause for them. So another thing that was a little challenge is that most of the conference, at least like when you're trying to organize ones, that don't have like so many reports that you have access and try to discover what didn't work well. For all the organizers, they have this information, or at least they have an idea. But for people that are not on that group, it can be challenging to get that information. So something that you try to do is write a report with everything that went okay, that was very amazing, and things that went wrong. Now it's not translated to English. We wrote that in Portuguese, and there was a few months that we were trying to have time to translate that to English. But it's on GitHub, and the way that we did that is that I told to Ivan, we need to do that on the following day at the end of the conference. If we don't do that on the following day, we're not going to do any more, because everyone's going to be busy getting updates with all the things that they didn't catch up with these 5 days of the conference. So I say, we're going to pick the day where we're almost dead at the conference, and we're going to sit and write everything that didn't work well. So we did that. And there's a report for both for us and for everyone that's going to run a conference on the following years with everything that didn't went well and what you suggest for people to do. So that's what we did. So the last lesson is that Florianópolis was the host of the SciPy Latin America this year. It's a nice place. They have 47 beaches. It's a small island on the south of Brazil. It's an amazing place. If you have any opportunity to go there and visit, you're going to have a very nice time. I have 2 t-shirts with me. Unfortunately, I don't have main size. I have a small one and a medium one. If you want one of these shirts, is this one. That is this thing on behind that means more Python, more science. So just ask me and I can give you one for you if it fits you. I don't think that's, if you have a friend that it's small or medium size, you can have one for them. Next year, the SciPy Latin America is going to be on Cuba, Havana. So if you have any interest in science or want to visit Cuba, it's a nice opportunity. Olemis is the local organizer. I don't have the date set because, as I told you, the venue can be a little challenge. So Olemis is trying to get the venue as soon as possible for us to have a date and starting invite more people. It's probably going to be on May of the next year. That's the idea. And that's all. If you want to have any other questions, feel free to ask. And thank you very much. Alex has the microphone, so.
Does anybody have any questions?
You mentioned accounting issues.
There's no.
Testing.
Hello. Not interest. You mentioned accounting issues. Did you have to open a bank account, or did you have any trouble doing that?
We use the university, one of the universities in Brazil, because the conference was being hosted by the university of the venue. The university You can use our auditorium for free. We didn't need to pay. The auditorium was quite nice because it saved a lot of money using the university venue. But one of the catch-ups is that all the money from the conference needs to go over the university. That at the beginning we thought that was going to be okay, but we actually didn't have a write-down agreement of how much working hours the university finance is going to provide to us. So this was a little messy. So if you have any umbrella organization that's going to handle your finance, my suggestion is that you actually write down and sign an agreement saying how many hours that person is going to help you. Let's say 1 day per week. So you can say to that person, so you need to go to the bank and talk with the manager of the bank and see what's happened. And if there's any issue, like you can talk to that person can do that on that day. Because the problem that we have in Brazil was that person was taking care of like 20, I don't know how many projects from the university. And it was on the same account as any other project from the university. So in my opinion, like what they supposed to do is like, oh, this one doesn't have any identification. So send an email to everyone that was coordinating a project and try to discover it. But I don't know if they did that. They were saying, no, there's nothing. They talk with the bank, the bank say there's nothing. One of the issues that sometimes for bank regulations, you need to go to the bank and sign some paperwork. The money is like keep safe in the bank, but you can access until you sign something, say, okay, I accept this money that's coming from the US or Europe. It's quite messy. Something that I told with Ivan is that maybe if you can use online system, it's much better. Like I have a better experience using PayPal and other online systems than normal banks. Especially, this is in Brazilian case. Once I was waiting for a payment for myself, and I had to go like twice to the bank. Each time I lose like 3 hours of my day just waiting and talk with the manager and so on. And I say it's more costly to go to the bank than pay like 5% of what I'm receiving on PayPal or what is the other transaction system that you are using. So,
thank you. Any other questions?
Got some good experiences. Have you tried feeding this back to Python Software Foundation and saying, would it be an idea to have a pamphlet or online FAQ for people organising conferences?
Actually, this is a very good message. I didn't talk with people from PSF about that, but yeah, maybe can set up something.
Just the top 10 things to think about.
Yeah, I think it
sounds like a lot of your time is spent going to banks and moving around and organising.
Yeah, the difference that this change from country to country, like on the US, sometimes it's like easier. Most like if all your sponsors are on the US and your conference is on the US, like you're not going to have any issue with banks. But maybe if you are on Latin America, Africa, Asia, or another country that has some issue get money from the US, or just like international transfer, it can be a little difficult. I believe that PSF has a lot of experience doing that. I can't blame any of our sponsors for it. It's not their fault, it's like our fault. So, but have good guidelines is probably better.
Any other questions? Okay, well, will you all join me again in thanking Raniere for that talk?
Thank you.